Hello, lovely sewing friends. I hope you guys are doing well. So, I'm having a bit of a clear out, and so I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to talk to you guys about what comes first in a sewing project. Is it the fabric or is it the pattern? Because I was always you have to have the pattern first, because then you don't know like the meterage and like specifications on things that you need. But in recent years, I've come to discover I'm gravitating more towards the fabric side, in some exceptions. So I'm going to take you guys through kind of what I've got here. So I pulled out a few examples. See, I'm so organized this time for now. Also, you may have noticed I'm wearing a turtleneck because the seasons have now been changing in Melbourne. So I've had to put my t-shirts away and stuff. So I'm in a lot of turtlenecks. And that really got me thinking. I've actually had this turtleneck for 6 years now. And I swear to God, if you make things that you know you're going to wear, you will wear them for ages, right? So I've had this turtleneck 6 years. I've repaired it twice and I wear it every winter. It is one of my staples. One second, my neighbors are just deciding to go through the courtyard behind me. So if you hear some background noise, that is what it is. Had this for ages, wear it all the time. I know my style and my colors and what I like to have on my skin and on my body. That really makes the big difference when selecting fabric. Also, it may be worthwhile noting, I worked in a fabric shop for like 3 years. And so when I was there, I saw so many fabrics. And I think that really was beneficial for me because I saw so many fabrics all the time that the kind of like the sparkle of like a nice new fabric was kind of dulled for me. Because if I would see the same fabric like over and over again, I would be kind of like, oh, it's not really that special. Compared to like a one-of-a-kind fabric that I was just like, absolutely, yes, 100%, of course, of course, of course. For example, I remember the day that we got a Liberty fabric silk base with sequins on top. That was stunning, absolutely stunning. It was like $150 a meter, but it was like, you remember those amazing fabrics, and you know, like in the 3 years that I worked there, we never seen anything like it. Say also with denim, there are some fabrics that you're like, when I see it, I'm going to get it because I know I'm going to use it. For example, denim. Wait there. So, I like how I always say wait there. It's like, you're not going to follow me in there. So anyway, this was a denim I got the day that it arrived in the store, because I was like, there's no way I'm going to see this kind of washed, it was a really wide bolt of denim as well. It was like 150 centimeters wide. And I made this little jumpsuit, and I wear it most winters laid with a turtleneck. So there are some fabrics you know you're just never going to see again, so you just grab them straight away. Another one was this one. I saw in a fabric shop called Draper's. I think this was like 2019 or something. Like, I saw this and I was like, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I didn't know what I was going to make at the time of buying it, but I knew I had to get it. Because like those are my colors. And then I got this as a lining fabric a couple years later, and I made it up. It's like a cotton with something else, cotton and wool maybe, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I wish I had more of it, but it was so irritating to sew because all of these strands of fiber that make up this pattern, I'll show you. So you do get a few like little pulls like that, and there's a couple here as well, but my God, it was worth it. It was so worth it. The fabric that I do not play with, as soon as I see it and I think I like it, I get it, is Liberty, because it's just, Liberty is one of those things that I can use it in so many ways. For those of you who don't know, Liberty is a department store in London. I love it. They have fabrics. I love it even more. But they do really gorgeous like florals. I'll show you here like these, right? Like that's gorgeous. So whenever I see a Liberty fabric I like, I buy it. Not Liberty sweet sequins, but and I do have quite a lot of stashed Liberty. So yeah, I tend to gravitate toward, because I think it's because I know what I like, because I bought things that I liked at the time then didn't like. So I think throughout the years I've definitely kind of like I've developed my style, and I know what I'm going to sew with versus what looks pretty. I bought so many ribbed knits that I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to make something out of it, and then never did. Like, and that's the thing that irritates me the most, is when I was kind of umming and ahhing about a fabric, bought it, and then I look back and I'm like, I really didn't need that. Or the worst is when you buy something like a black rib for t-shirts or turtlenecks like this, you go home and you actually have it already in your stash. That annoys me. And that's happened to me, so guilty. So I'm going to take you through a couple of the fabrics here and like use them as examples. So specialty fabrics we can talk about. So I've got this, it's an unfinished bag, right? So this is like a water windproof. You can kind of hear what it kind of would feel like, and it's quite it is a really tight weave. And I bought this fabric and I made a windbreaker that I wear nearly every single week to and from the gym. But so I saw the fabric and I was like, oh, that's a really cool print, like it's pretty, and it's a windproof fabric. I'll make something with it. In this case, getting the fabric was more beneficial for me, because this is such a specialty fabric and a design that you would be hard pressed to find it again. So I bought the fabric, and then I went home and I made a pattern. And I think because I knew I wanted to do a jacket with a zip down the front, I knew I only needed like 1.5 meters, 2 meters max. I think I got 2 meters and the maid cut out this bag and not finished it. But if I was to find a pattern, do a toile, all of that kind of stuff, and then go and find a fabric, it would be quite difficult. The only other time I've seen a fabric like this was the other week when I went into a fabric shop in Melbourne. So I found this in like 2019, and I've only just found another windbreaker fabric in store in 2025, so 6 years. So if you see a specialty fabric like this, another example would be my raincoat fabric. Same kind of thing. I saw this, knew for a fact I would never find something of this quality and color again, and I haven't. So I bought it straight away because it was exactly what I wanted to make a raincoat. And I didn't have a pattern. I've not even cut out the first toile of the pattern. And actually, when I found this fabric, I was like, immediately I need to start sketching out ideas. And I showed you my little sketchbook of ideas for it last week. Yeah, I actually have it on hand. I'll show you if you didn't see last week's video. It's because I forgot to upload it because it wasn't downloading in time. So I'm just going to flick back to my raincoat idea. So this was my little raincoat idea, right? Really, really lovely. Now you'll see this little slit in the back, right? So I pattern drafted the pattern for this rain jacket. And then I did a few toiles of like the closures and the fixtures and everything. And I actually just found this again whilst I was finding all of this fabric. And I'm so impressed with myself that I actually did this because it's a lining on a placket and then it's kind of like folded back in on itself, right? So let me just kind of press it. So this is like the outside, right? But then it opens up and you've got like a determined fruit fly split amount there. But on the inside, you can see how the lining, there's like extra so that there's a fold at the end, mitered corners, and it's on both sides. Like, how on earth did I do this? I think I'm going to have to pull it all apart to redo it, to then do it again to understand how I did it. But that's the kind of details that I want on my raincoat. Because with this raincoat, I want to make it once and I want to make it right. Like, I don't see myself ever needing another raincoat in my life. Because also this is like a plastic and it's water wicking or whatever. So I don't really want it to go into landfill or whatnot. I want to make it well and have it last me a lifetime. So I want to make sure I get all the details right in it. So I've got that. And then I think within the same week, I found this other fabric and it's another kind of like water resistant, moisture wicking kind of fabric. Now this isn't the same as this one. This is a little bit thicker. This is very thin. So if you think they were the same, they're not. So this is really thin. So this would be perfect in addition to a thicker fabric, hence why those two are going together. And also the colors, I think, just look really lovely together. So that's going to be my raincoat. See, if I had waited 6 years to get around to drafting and toiling that raincoat, the fabric wouldn't be there. So there's that. Also, with certain fabrics, they need to have a certain kind of movement to them, shall we say. For example, one of my friends is pregnant, co-worker's pregnant, and is lovely. And she's having a girl. So I don't know whether I showed you guys this. She's got a little whale. Of course, everyone I know who has a baby gets a whale. Look how cute she is. So of course I need to make some baby beanies. So I used to have a little small business back in COVID called Little Noggin, and it was little baby beanies. It was really fun. But after 2 years, I was just like, I'm not feeling this right now. So I stopped doing that, but I can make lots of baby beanies for friends. Anyway, so when you need a fabric to kind of stretch, like this turtleneck, it needs to stretch and go over the head and, you know, cling to the body. It needs to have a certain like mobility to it. So for example, swimwear will have more often than likely a two-way stretch, or it can be a four-way stretch. So that's two-way, left and right. Four-way is up and down as well. For baby beanies, I just really need a basic two-way stretch. So that's a two-way stretch. Like that does stretch a little bit, but no more than normal. So this is perfect for baby beanies. And the great thing about having a basic fabric like this is that it's a knit, so you can find it in a lot of shops. So like this type of fabric, if I was to make turtlenecks, for example, which I have a lot of fabric in. Speaking of, in 2022, I left working at that fabric shop, and I actually still have this beautiful red that 100% merino, beautiful red merino, 1.5 or 1.3 meters of it. And I still need to make it up into turtlenecks for winter. I think the only reason I've held, this is actually a fact, the only reason I've held off making turtlenecks in this fabric for so long is actually I wear the ones I already have. So there's no need for me to make more of something I already have and I already wear. So I have these. I have this fabric. I was also, the great thing about living in Melbourne is that you can layer really, really easily. So what I've actually done is during winter, everyone layers up all up here and everything's nice and cozy, but your legs are bloody freezing, right? So I actually made a whole bunch of leggings when I was in New Zealand, so that when I came over to Melbourne, I could layer them under my jeans, and they're 100% New Zealand merino, and they're just in black, so it was super cheap. Like this fabric, I think was like $46 a meter because it's like a dyed red versus like a black that may be mixed with a little bit of lycra. Lycra helps the fabric hold its shape. So if, for example, like this is more like my statement piece that's going to be seen that I can accessorize with different clothes and layers with. If I'm just wearing something as leggings, it doesn't really need to be as pretty. But I made a whole bunch of leggings, and the best part about them is that like they came up really, really high, so that I was really nice and snug, and I did not feel the cold when I wore them at all. It was the best thing ever. And like whenever somebody says like, oh, like how do I prepare for winter in Melbourne? I'm like, girl, okay, first of all, what you're gonna do, get lots of houseplants, that's nice. Secondly, get a night hobby. And third of all, invest in leggings to go under your jeans, because you think jeans are just gonna be fine. No, they are not. It gets bitterly cold here. So get a pair of leggings. So there's that. So knit's really easy to find. On the other hand, so this, I've shown you guys this before. I really want to make this up in the next couple of months because I'm actually going to be taking a bit of a holiday. I'll bring you guys with me, don't worry about it. But I really want to wear this on my holiday, and I want it to be like really sentimental to me because I've held on to this fabric for so long. And I think it's ready to have its time. So this needs to be a priority for me in the next couple of months, really. So this is a panel. I'm not gonna hold it out because it's like huge, but it's a paneled piece of silk fabric. And the thing with it being a silk is that it's actually really transparent. Like you can see basically straight through it. So this, you've got to take into consideration, first of all, it's thin. So you need to have a lining. Second of all, it's in a panel. And what it means by it's in a panel, it's basically printed like in like blocks. And you can see this line here, it's kind of showing the separation of the block. So you got to fit your pattern pieces in there. And third of all, this was dead stock. So dead stock means that like, there's basically no more of it. Like the designer didn't do a reprint of this print essentially. So if you mess it up, you're done. And that has happened to me before. So this is why I do so many toiles of things that I'm just a little bit skeptical about. And when I do a toile of this, what I will do is I'll do a toile of it fully lined with like a synthetic toiling fabric to mimic the same kind of like floatiness of this, because there's no point me just toiling in calico. For those of you who don't know, calico is kind of like a cotton that is undyed, sorry, and it's just in the rawest form possible. Just you basically draft your patterns with it. But what I'll do is I'll draft toile with a fabric that is the similar weight and feel of this, so I can get exactly the kind of floatiness and mimic the texture and the drape of the fabric to get a more accurate representation of what this is going to look like on me, because I'm not messing this up. The design I want to do is kind of like a play suit with gathering under the bust. I'm going to hide little parts into the design so that over the years, this is so smart of me, right? I am so clever. Pat on the back. What I'm going to do is make it so that it can be expanded or taken in with gathering and pleats, because it's so easy to just add in a few little details like at the waist or under the bust, or you know, little things like that. Also, another thing I always do is I lower my armholes on my garments, because I don't like it when I get pinched under the armpits. Also doesn't look good for sweat stains or deodorant stains, so there you go. So you can see why it takes me so long to sew something up, especially if it's from scratch, because I take all these things into consideration when I am sewing with a fabric that I'm very sentimental about and I cannot get more of. So that's that. Another fabric I kind of like, the other lesson I've learned is, by being around fabric a lot, I also, like I said, I know what I like and what I like. I know what I like and I know what I will wear. For example, this gorgeous fabric, it's this kind of plaid checkered fabric. I bought it 2018. And if I had more of this, I would make more garments in it. It is beautiful. So I know what I like, and that makes fabric shopping really easy for me, because first of all, I know what I'm not going to see again. Second of all, I know meterage of things. For example, with this, I think there was like 3.5 meters left on the fabric roll, and I loved it so much I was like, I'll take the whole thing, because there's nothing more annoying than buying like 1.5 meters and realizing you need like 1.7. That's just annoying. And also with something like this, with a check, I'm like, okay, if I want to pattern match, it is going to take a little bit. I love how that just stayed. It's going to take a little bit more. So I'd much rather overcompensate and have some left over than underbuy and regret it. So that just makes it super, super easy for me. Also, my first Wilbur the Waist Free whale was made out of that fabric, and it was gorgeous. And I remember the night I made him, it was beautiful. Another thing. So I bought this Elvis blue wool. How many years? It was about, I think it was like 2 years ago. This fabric I actually got as a remnant. And a remnant is basically like somebody, let's say there's 3.5 meters of fabric on a roll of fabric. Somebody buys 3 meters, there's 0.5 meter left over. So there's not much you can make with the 0.5 meter. So a fabric shop will usually discount that by 50 to 20%, depending, and sell it off really cheap. I think I just got really lucky, and there was like 1.7 meters in this remnant. And I got it, and I made a coat. I'll go get it. So I made this coat, and I've just realized something, right? Look who's here. We've just got a matching whale in the pocket. And so this is my coat, and I'll put my little whale there. And I got it lined, again, Liberty fabric, it's beautiful. I don't think I've worn this one as much because it is a lighter color. And also I think I need to press it really well. So that's on the to-do list. But then I've got a little matching whale in the same kind of fabric. Like, that's gorgeous. Like you do not get that with fast fashion or ready to wear fashion. Like, come on, how cute. So, like, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I definitely do need to give that a good press. Also, you may have noticed, these are the same coats. I've got 3 of these coats. It's the, it's a paper cut pattern, Nova coat, I think it's called. If you guys want to make one of those, so easy. You can do it up in a day. But with the wools, you got to take into consideration the composition, because so many fabrics, you got to look at the composition, right? Because fabrics can hide a lot. So this, I'm pretty sure it's like 100% wool, or it's like 98% wool, 1% nylon, 1% synthetic, or whatever. You do not want to get yourself a merino, for example, and make some, sorry, that's my dishwasher. It works as a really good timer as well, because I got to get to work in 45 minutes. So that's kind of like my little warning, countdown. Anyway, you don't want to get a fabric for leggings. That is like, the job of this fabric is to make this item to keep me warm. You don't want to be picking up a 50% merino, because that is not going to keep you as warm as a 70 or 100% merino. Obviously, it will be a little bit cheaper. And like I said, for a legging, you might want a little bit of elastic or lycra or spandex in it, so it hugs your body. But think about the purpose of that garment. For example, my raincoat, right? It's supposed to keep the rain off me, right? So I need to make sure it is water resistant. There's no point me making a raincoat in like this, right? It's just not going to work. I have definitely fallen into the trap when I was at high school. I tried to make a t-shirt out of like a cotton canvas. It's like trying to make a t-shirt out of denim fabric. It's just not going to work. There was no stretch over the neck hole. Like, it didn't fall correctly. It was just a mess. So do as I say, not as I do, in the past. So yeah, fabrics 101, and I will keep you guys updated. I don't think I'll have a trial of the raincoat within the next week, but I got my fabrics out and I'm trying. So gotta count for something, I guess. I'll see you guys next week. Okay, cool. Bye.